couldn't choose a sound for being hosted, so I decided to use this. Hey, how is it going? How are people today? I hope you are all well. Hopefully this music will not be too loud your end. But the bare minimum of music in the background. Hope everyone is doing well. Let's click on that. Got some B-roll that I've recorded for the background of all of the sort of like inside Star Citizens and little sneak peeks and stuff we've had over the last 6 or so weeks. So today we'll talk about any questions that people have. Question in brackets helps me pick it out from the crowd. I will try to be responsive to I love it when people put emotes that are multiple emotes, such as twerk, 4 pieces of twerk spaced together. Those are my favourite types of emote. I have just realised as well that the Star Citizen Live is actually currently live. I didn't think they'd do it at 3 PM UTC, but I didn't check. Typically, I think it's always going to be 5 PM onwards. We might not have too many people here, but I'll still chat anyway. I did want to talk about the new customization system, about the Origin celebration, about 3.6, about hover mode, because there's been some extra devy bits they've talked about since Inside Star Citizen on hover mode. Mantis has just sent me some stuff that he was talking to a dev about heat propagation and thrusters being used in quantum travel, which is interesting as well, so we'll talk all about that. And as I said, any questions that you've got, whether they be about Star Citizen or about myself or about my channel, whatever, I will try and answer as best I can But remember, I'm not a CIG dev. I am pretty deep into the project, as in I read pretty much every piece of media and news that is available. I have yet to read the full jump point for the month, and the Squadron 42 newsletter, though. I've been overwhelmed by 3.5.1 content that I've been sort of like plowing through and trying to work out how everything is a bit different, because there's new items and things as well in 3.5.1, and there's lots of little updates which I wasn't expecting. Obviously, the lots of new stuff with the 300 series and customization there. But yeah, so if you've got any questions already. How's everyone doing today? I'm doing all right. A little sleepy. It's Friday and 3.5.1 still isn't out. What? It's already out. It went live yesterday. 3.5.1 is live. Music's a good volume. Fantastic. That's good to hear. I think I've even turned it slightly more down since you said that. Please, more details on the 890 jump. So it's planned to be out for 3.6, which is the end of this month, is when 3.6 is supposed to be live. We've seen various rooms on it. As you can see now, you're looking at the battle bridge. 890 jump's probably one of my favorite ships. It is absolutely massive. Almost 200 meters in length is the current estimated size, which is pretty accurate. It looks like it's got a medical bay. It's got that sort of like little battle bridge, which is near the armory. The armory's got room for a load of weapons to be stored there. I'm assuming armor as well. There's a main bridge, which you would have just seen a bit earlier than that, which has a hollow globe there, 2 component cupboards, a co-pilot, pilot, and engineer station. We've seen its cargo bay previously as well, which looks absolutely massive, and it's basically the closest thing we've had to a more of a capital ship. It is massive. It's bigger than a Corvette. It's approaching that much larger size, and it's going to be the largest game we've got in largest ship we've got in game once it goes live. Like the little medical bay there, it's got like a little section off from it, so it's like quarantined. I'm not sure what tier of medical facility that is, but it will be at least tier 3. I'm assuming tier 2, but maybe you'll be able to customize that. There's huge amounts of like spa and bar areas and social areas aboard the ship. It is a big party boat, a big party vessel. Dastard Listen Live is live. I know, I'm such an idiot. I started, so I'll finish. So apologies for sort of like conflicting with that. That is entirely my bad. What's the price on this baby? Last time it was on, originally it was on sale for $600, and then last time it was on sale it was $890 for the 890 jump. It is something that I would buy in game. It is a ridiculous amount of money that I'd say spend on your computer or something else, not a spaceship. Obviously some people are much more affluent or have a load of disposable income. You desperately want to buy a ship, then get it. It's not available at the moment. I was expecting it to be available during the Origin celebration, but it's not. It's just the 300 series that are available during this Origin celebration. But with 3.6, there should be a 3.6 viable sale, and it looks like 3.6 is still planned to be live at the end of this month, but that could change. But I'm expecting at least a small amount to go on sale then. It might only be for Warbond. It might be Warbond and store credit. I have to wait. What do you think Bored, what do you think would be the first port for Star Citizen in the future? Xbox, PlayStation, Stadia? I don't 100% know. It depends on what they want to do, and I suspect they're still putting feelers out for it. I think Squadron 42 would be the game that would be most likely to be ported first, and that will be almost certainly next-gen consoles, so PlayStation 5 and that sort of stuff. Just because they wouldn't want to scale it back very much, if at all, even for consoles. And it would be a PC port to the console, which I think are better than the other way around. I think that's reasonably accurate for most games as well. When they've been ported from PC to console, don't lose out the same sort of stuff that you get from porting it from console to PC. So I'm not entirely sure how Stadia is going to work yet. I'm still waiting for more information on that. But if there's cloud services like Shadow State, or Stadia is obviously more game focused, just for specific games rather than a Windows 10 environment. Hashtag shill for Shadow. Then maybe Stadia is a good shout. I need to see more information on it, really. I mean, the future is cloud gaming with a lot of stuff and cloud computing. So quite possibly. So I just got the Crytek in a game pack. The Crytek is the Crytek a capital ship or not? On the website, the 890 Jumping Crytek, almost the same size. And should I be excited about the Crytek?
Oh,
So thank you very much, Mantis, for the Friday stream bits. Appreciated. The Crytek, it's hard to define what makes a capital ship in Star Citizen. Okay, so typically, if you were defining capital ships IRL, when it comes to boats and seacraft, it's a ship of war that would be defined as a capital ship, basically. So you wouldn't have civilian capital ships. But in Star Citizen, we sort of like define them by size almost. Now, some ships have capital size components, and I think that's a good way of saying whether something's a capital ship. For me, Corvette size is anything between 150 and maybe up to 200-ish meters. So the Crytek falls within that sort of like class. It is a very compact ship. It has lots of facilities that a capital ship would have, but very compact, much smaller. It's only got it runs with a crew of 6 rather than a crew of like 40 or something ridiculous. Now let's actually have a quick look at what components it's currently listed with. I suspect it's got a couple of capital components, but the rest large. It might be entirely large. Large radar, 3 medium computers, large quantum fuel tanks. It's large. It looks like large everything, actually. Yeah, so large everything. So by component class, it's definitely not a capital ship. But I would see it as a compact, almost capital ship in size. It's a really weird thing to define because it's sort of like it doesn't matter. It's just pure definition. It's more sort of like, yeah, I think it's a capital ship. So with the 890 Jump, it's got capital size fuel tank. And maybe that's and capital coolers and capital power plants, stuff like that. Capital shield generators. So could identify that as a capital ship because it has some capital class components. And maybe that is the way that we should. I don't really know. I've sort of like tried to define it before, but sort of like down to interpretation. What else we got here? Yes, CIG needs to release 3.5.2 to fix the bugs. Guess there's already been talked about the bugs like warp drive not functioning, landing gears not coming out, at least on the 600i. Yeah, there's going to be edge cases and problems with certain ships, definitely, unfortunately. So there's been some interesting other things that they're in 3.5.1 apparently as well. So thrusters, when you're in quantum drive, still work. So you can pull yourself out of quantum drive and do weird things with your thrusters. It'll pull you out. So bear that in mind if you're in cruise control and you go to quantum, that you're still using your thrusters and that can do weird stuff while you're in quantum. And that is a design choice apparently. I'm going to try and find out some more information about that. Also, heat now propagates between systems. So one system getting hot will heat up the other systems nearby. Or other systems, I suppose, at the moment, until we have physicalized components. So that was some interesting stuff that Mantis had sent me, so thanks very much for that. I will delve deeper. What kind of view do you have towards this game? For me, I get the idea of exploration and trading, but as the roadmap states, I can't see much exploration happening because there just isn't much. Yeah, so in the shorter term, and medium term, in fact, they're focusing on Squadron 42 and transferable content from Squadron 42 to Star Citizen's persistent universe. So exploration at the moment is just having a look around the areas that they add rather than any form of exploration mechanic. Exploration further down the line, over a year away is what I would say. So yeah, exploration and future patches, loads of other gameplay mechanics and future patches. At the moment, they're focusing on core gameplay mechanics. They are going to be looking at salvage this year. Obviously, some of the systems we've already got in game, expanding them out. Law system, black market system, giving lots more sort of like gameplay to people that want to smuggle, to trade, to do outlaw gameplay, to do PvP. Given that some ships have landing wheels, like a real-life aircraft, is it possible that someday we will see airports and runways for takeoff and landing? They did say that they wanted ships with wheels to have function with those wheels. I'm not sure if we will see runways for takeoff and landing because almost all the ships, if not all of them, are going to have hover and VTOL, so they don't need them. Maybe you'll see them more for sort of like background coolness. They could have them if they wanted to. I just don't see a reason for them to have them. Unless they have very specific atmospheric superiority fighters. But again, they'd probably still make them in spacecraft as well. Just be better in atmosphere. So I don't think that we'd see proper airports. More sort of like pads. The Area 18 that we had, yeah, they're trying to make that with the highway going through it. The airport there, the Rico Memorial Airport, or Spaceport, they're making it look like an airport. Because with this sort of like the way that the highway goes through it. Now, that's an interesting thing, because that looks like an airport, but that function of those roads are for cars or for landcraft or spaceships that are on the ground, moving across the ground, effectively. Like a highway, like hover ships. You know what I mean? It is a highway, though, rather than an airport. But it looks like an airport, and that's a cool design decision because sort of like has the best of both worlds. But I don't expect... Maybe we will. I don't know. They haven't really talked much about runways, though. If I were to turn that 890 jump, what should I ram? It will be practice for when I find a Bengal and ram the space whale. When I first logged on with 3.5.1 live, I just saw a couple of people just ramming ships on the landing pads. And I was just like, oh, you bunch of cocks. So please don't do that. Only ram consensual adults. Question, what is the vision of Star Citizen in terms of city planets? Will we be able to explore ground levels, drive cars, etc.? So we know we're going to get a lot more sort of places to explore with city planets. City planets will have certain areas which are landing zones. There could be multiple areas on a planet that are landing zones like Area 18 that can potentially be connected, or that you would get a craft or a bus or fly to with your ship. So there are multiple areas. The internals of some buildings will be modelled, but not the whole city planet. And like on Area 18 and around ArcCorp, there are buildings that you can land on that are above the sort of like shielded area that will have physicalized internals, and they will be used for missions and things like that as well. There's going to be physicalized hangars and habs, so that's going to be lots more areas to explore and go to, physical addresses for people's sort of like for living quarters and things like that. We know that they're working on lots of stuff like that, but we're not sure exactly what form that will take until it's in our hands, I suppose. But we do know they're expanding out planets and giving them some internals to look around. But it's not going to be the whole planet's not going to be fully explorable. You might be able to fly over it. You might be able to land on some of it. You might be able to explore some of the internals of it, but it's certainly not going to be everywhere. I mean, it will be a tiny percentage that will be fully explorable. Or, you see what I mean? Jaylee, love your face, Jaylee. Jaylee bought some of my merch the other day and posted a picture of him wearing it, so I love him even more. I was asking someone the other day, would it be right if I pretended to be Jaylee and do a Jaylee voice? Hello, I'm Jaylee, and I love BoredGamer merchandise. Sometimes it's the only t-shirt I wear. But then I was told that that might be seen as impersonating a CIG employee, even if I did it with the silly voice. That's not really how you talk, Jaylee, don't worry. It was suggested I'd send you a script to read, Jaylee, if you're up for it, just saying how much you love my merch. Oh my god, I love you. You're a legend. We have to play some games again soon. Exploration is survey, more or less. Well, part of exploration, I would say, is information gathering, survey, and finding things. But I wouldn't say entirely. I'd say that it also ties into science. It ties into scanning down anomalies and points of interest, reconnoitering and sort of like scouting those out. Maybe exploration and science missions will be very sort of like dependent on each other or stack on each other. So there'll be sort of like, go and get me loads of these cool plants, or go and find me new species of animals, or whatever. There's lots of stuff they could do with exploration, especially when it comes to scanning down points of interest. And you could have it so that the range of a ship's important, and not because you need to go through quantum travel jump points, but because you need to go to the very edge of systems, or really look around and track down points of interest based on like trails and things. Like, or we could be finding an anomaly based on where it was, or found an awesome salvage field and sort of asteroids, and there's some interesting data there that you can then scan and get science data from, or something like that. There's loads of stuff they can do with science and with exploration. I do think there's a lot of crossover. Thank you very much for the hosts from Blocksware and Guildarts Law. Correct, Guildarts Law. That makes more sense, rather than darts. Ramming ships on the pads. I love your response. Yeah, I know it's annoying. I'm not overly whiny about it. It doesn't very much happen to me, and it happens less and less. And they are eventually with pad ramming and people just sort of like trolling you at landing zones.
Beautiful bored egg.
Oh, thank you very much, Stuff M3. 21 months of sub. Thank you. Very much appreciated. But it's sort of like ramming people there and sort of like the like trolling that brings. It's pretty annoying to some people as well. That will be solved in the future with security, defense, and law stuff that sort of like prevents and disincentivizes you from doing that sort of behavior. So you'll get crime stats, you'll get reputation loss, you'll lose money potentially. I like what they do in GTA 5. I don't like what they do in GTA 5, but I think what they do in GTA 5 is very suitable for this, which is if you destroy someone else's car in like a lawful area, I suppose, you'd be the one that has to fit the bill if you're in lawful space. Because there's like, you would, wouldn't you? If it was IRL, you'd be liable for that. So charge people like that. I think that's a great idea. 10 out of 10, yes. I love you, Jaylee. You're the best. Yeah, don't worry, Jaylee, mate. I'll talk to some people. I'll get you to say it if I'm on a stream with you. If you're playing a game, I'll record you and I'll get you to say it sort of like subtly in the background by accident. Genius, mate. Now that we know that 3.5.0 was pretty late going live, around 1 month, can we assume that all future patches for this year will be late going live? No, we don't necessarily need to assume that. I think it's a possibility though. Wasn't it 2 weeks? 2 weeks late. And it was PTU was for everyone by the date they said it was going to go live, which is sort of fine. They still needed to work on it. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think it was only 2 weeks late though, and that's a possibility for 3.6 for sure. What do you think or know about this? Will the next ship releases and reworks also include the customization for that ship, looking at the 3.6 roadmap? It's interesting that you say that, because I don't know, and I'm waiting for a response from CIG to tell us about what they're planning to do for future ships. Now, this is the first tier implementation, or tier 0 implementation as they call it, for the 300 series with the new customizer. It does take a bit of work from Turbulence end, because they have to get a picture of all the possible customizations and get that into the website customizer. So, do I expect all flyable ships that are coming in the future to have this? No. Do I expect batches and waves of ships to be coming to the customizer? Yes. Almost certainly do them in batches based on popularity and size, how sensible it is. So expect the smaller ships first. Expect potentially like the Mustangs and the Auroras next, and Hornets and Sabres and stuff like that, before we get into larger ships. But I don't know that for sure. That's just my expectation on that. And we know they are rolling out to all ships at some point. And it will be fully available in game as well. Why are Legends matches being broken into multiple lines? Because he's breaking them into multiple lines. Putting 1 and 2 in front of them and dropping them into different lines, I think. The monster. That's what it looks like anyway. As larger ships became customizable, do you feel that component loadout options will go up in price, considering that some of the 300 packages are arguably overpriced? So, I feel that the weapons and items packages that are sold with the 300 series of ships are massively overpriced. in general. And I think that if they're selling packages like that, they should be lower in price with the weapons changes and the weapons additions, because that's how a manufacturer would sell you those customized options anyway. They would be a cheaper bundle. That's the way I feel anyway. So I'd make them significantly cheaper. And that's one of the downsides of buying them. You can't get the specific tailored ship that you want, because it's a carefully created set of components. But you might want different weapons, you might want a different power plant or whatever. So you sell them cheaper because people are going to be changing them up anyway. Hopefully the loadout prices won't go up in price. CIG like to monetize where they can, and they like to monetize what they think is fair and also won't cause that much anger from the community. So it will be sort of scaled to that sort of thought process. They'll look at something and go, well, we could just charge $1 to paint the hull of the 890 Jump, or we could charge $10 because people will pay that. I know that's a bit of chilly, but it's true. And that's the sort of stuff I would expect. It's obviously probably more work as well, but I'm pretty happy paying for skin changes and that sort of stuff if the skin is unique and cool and actually had some effort going into it, and I wouldn't have had it otherwise unless they were selling them. But they will have all that functionality in game at some point, and the aftermarket customization is something I'm significantly more excited about, which is, you know, any ship in game now, any of our ships, we can go and purchase components for, that be weapons and items, and then fit them, and then when the ship is destroyed and reclaimed, they keep those customizations. Okay, so you don't need to use that manufacturer customization system and pay real money. You can buy components with in-game credits and customize your ship. Bam, fantastic. But the aftermarket customization will also have some paint options and lots of other crazy choices for flair and items that you can put in your ship, and much more bizarre and odd ones that a manufacturer wouldn't necessarily have. Like Origin wouldn't want you to have like a fiery dragon skin with a dragon breathing fire around your ship, but you could get that from an aftermarket sort of area, which again, available in game. So will I get a crime stat for ramming a space whale? Probably not, actually, thinking about it, unless it's like endangered species. May want to put a tag everyone else is using for questions, so you put it, yeah, so if you put question in front of your question in like brackets, it allows me to see it much better. Do you think that the ship component upgrades will be available in the customizer, that CIG is moving towards pay to win unfair advantages to people with high disposable income or time? So people with money and people with time are going to have an advantage in Star Citizen if they buy ships or if they play a load. That is just how it is. Star Citizen wouldn't be funded without its ship selling model, so I'm not going to rant at that too much. I don't want it to be overly pay to win and overly bullshit and overly pay to advantage when it's sort of like getting closer and closer to release. They've talked about what they might do financially to sort of like continue funding, selling UEC and stuff in the game. Now, even stuff does that, and it doesn't break the game. The game can still be good with some of those pay-to-win problems. Well, as long as it doesn't have pay-to-win sort of like over the top. Pay-to-win doesn't necessarily break the game. And it's not sort of like overly pay-to-win. It's not like you can only get this if you pay money for it, and this is objectively better when you pay money for it. Something like that. That would be pay-to-win, and that would be something I would stand very strongly against. But aesthetic things, early access to ships, lots more ships, whatever. I'm okay with people getting those if they want to spend money on them. It helps fund the game, and there's more content for me to sort of like fight against or whatever. It's an interesting one. Time, on the other hand, that's sort of like, that should be the key factor. People working together, people being efficient, and the time they spend on playing, that should give you genuine advantages. The idea of them selling ships and UEC is for the people that don't have the time can buy the ship they want or get the ship they want more easily and then use that. It's sort of like balance for a more PvE idea and experience, in my opinion. When they talk about stuff like that, they're like, oh yeah, but what do you win? And oh, it's so that people can get what they want and just jump into the game. They might not have hundreds and hundreds of hours a week. Seems excessive. They might not have 50 hours or so a week to play the game, so they want to just play on the weekends and they want to have the ship they want. Again, even with those people, I'd say join an organisation, use someone else's ship, play with someone else, crew their ship with them. But people that spend a load of money on the game, or people that spend a load of time in the game, yes, they have advantages. Do those advantages break the game? Probably not. It's something that we have to watch and comment on, and once we have a game that's playable and persistent, it's something that we need to watch a lot more closely and carefully. Okay, I want to upgrade my ship to Drake Corsair. For a time, this was a possibility, but I didn't because it was still concept. Now it's all gone from the upgrade store. Will it be back to being upgradable? Yes, so when they sell the Drake Corsair again, it will be available for upgrade again. This could be multiple times during this year, but almost certainly will be available in November. And November 23rd is when they've got CitizenCon and the anniversary sale planned together, and you should get the Corsair then. So it will still be in concept then, so bear that in mind, but you'll be able to upgrade. The 350R now has a bed, toilet, sadly no sink. Yeah, there's a sink. There's a sink in your kitchen area. 4 SCO of cargo, and 3 size 3 weapon hardpoints. Can I realistically use it as my day-to-day multi-role adventure ship, or only for racing? So it also has a lighter hull, so they've reduced the weight of its hull, so it is more agile and faster, but that does mean it's got less health. What that actually will mean once we have physicalized components, it'll probably mean that components will get more easily damaged and destroyed, and things will pierce through its hull more. We need the armor component and things like that there. So bear that in mind. So it does have a disadvantage compared to the other 300 series. It does have a lighter hull, although being faster, and that might be better in some ways. But yes, I do think it is a realistic day-to-day multi-role ship. Obviously, it is a single / potentially two-person ship. I say two-person ship because it's got a bit of a size to it now, isn't it? You might be able to get a Tumbrel Ranger in the cargo bay as well. We'll know when the actual Ranger is fully built out. Jono, yay! Yay indeed. But it should be more than just racing now. Did you see Twerk's video? Yes! I think it was pretty well researched and raised some good points. Yes, so Twerk's quite sensible and brings up his personal points of view when it comes to the community, the game, development, and he is concerned about certain things, which are, and rightly so. I see Star Citizen in a bit of a different light. I see it much more of a, whenever they've sort of like faced problems, they fix them. They're very responsive to the community. There's a lot of stuff we do need to watch. A lot of it is stuff that is semi-relevant now to watch, or to wait. We have to wait for it before we respond to it. So I love what Star Citizen's becoming. It's much more appealing to me as a project. I'm pretty much okay with Star Citizen development as a service, which I know will cause some people to be like, ugh, but some people love it. It's making more money year on year. It's something we do need to keep CIG honest, but I like what they're doing, and I like the critical voices in the community. Some, they're critical just for being critical's sake, and it's fake or smug or bullshittery or look at me, I'm so reasonable, and like you're just being really critical and being a bit of a douche. But Twerk, I love what he says because he tries to explore all points of view, and he changes his mind, and he's very reasonable, and yeah, I love working with Twerk. I love watching his stuff. I think he's superb. There's some other great channels as well, but some people are sort of like, you know, it feels disingenuous with some. But that might just be that those creators aren't resonating with me, rather than that. That's just how I feel. Currently, the customizer doesn't allow for recustomization of a ship without melting and rebuying. Problematic with ships that are part of limited packages. Hope this changes. So the other ways you can do it, apparently, which I haven't actually tried it myself, is if you upgrade the ship, it melts the customizations. You can upgrade it from like a 300i to a 315p or whatever, and it will melt the customizations, and you can then recustomize. But yes, you're right. As ships as part of limited packages, they do need to solve something with that. Processes are outrageous, and I disagree. I'm not sure what specific point you're outraged and disagree by, but the ship weapon and item packages. The item and weapon packages are far too high, and they should be significantly cheaper. Totally agree with that. The price of skins and stuff, yeah, I don't mind. If they're charging $1 or $2 for a skin, yeah, why not? As long as it's going to be fully available in game, I'll get it in game when I want it. Obviously, there's free things as well. Did you play RuneScape? No, I did not. I played Asheron's Call 2, Osmo Online, and then I think the next big game I played was World of Warcraft. When will we have bigger selection of ships to buy? I'm new to the game, but want more options for myself. In 3.6, so that's probably coming at the end of June, that's what we're hoping, there's ship rentals and new ships to buy from the ship consoles, which are, I believe, only available, the ship console, which will have multiple ships on it, Astra Armada on Area 8, and ArcCorp Area 18. So you're able to buy a whole range of ships there. They might change some of the other ships out, and hopefully we'll get a huge range. But we'll have ship rentals as well. They're in the persistent universe, which is good. So more choice for you then. But at the moment, there's the Origin Celebration. All of the flyable Origin ships are available until the 13th of June. Is there any info on insurance mechanics with all the custom stuff we'll put on our ships? No, so there's no future insurance mechanic knowledge that we have about the custom stuff we'll put on our ships that they've talked about recently. We know that currently in 3.5.1, any customizations you make to your ship or vehicle or whatever, they are persisting even after you reclaim them. So go ahead, grind for stuff in game, put it on your ship, you can reclaim it, great. Obviously they will be reset once with the major patch releases. They'll reset everything, which is annoying, but that's how it is at the moment. The expectation is that there will be different levels of insurance. They've talked briefly about this, but sort of like nothing in stone. Expect the ability to sort of like either have your base hull covered or your items covered and different types of insurance so that you get your ship back quicker or whatever at varying different levels. But yeah, the current reclaim system is just a placeholder. Never played, but if I buy a ship and the starter pack, will I lose it all when the full game comes out? No. Any ship that you buy, starter pack that you buy, you keep that. Any progress you make on that, anything else you buy in game, that will be reset from time to time. Until the game comes out, in which case it will be no more resets. Pay to win is anything buying an advantage. Yeah, so there's actual... We could debate what pay to win is all day. I'm happy to define pay to win at its lightest, most... anything that gives you an advantage is pay to win. I'm happy to say that. Happy to agree with that. Because some people would say pay to win is anything that gives you an advantage which you can only get by paying. Yeah? Or is so hard to get without paying that it's almost impossible. Yeah, so... But I'm happy to define it as anything that gives you an advantage. In that case, Star Citizen is pay to win, and will continue to be pay to win even after it goes live, because they're planning to sell UBC and game packages still. So bear that in mind. I don't think that makes the game inherently bad, and I do think there are different scales of pay to win, like Warframe's pay to win, EVE Online's pay to win, loads of the games, and World of Warcraft's pay to win now as things that give you advantages. That doesn't necessarily make it bad. It depends on how they implement it. We need to keep them honest about it. Could Vandal ships get some sort of weapon pack like laser repeaters with knee customization? What? Yeah, I'd like to see alien customizations for the Spear ships and whatever, all tailored for them, potentially. Or maybe Asperia don't do customizations because they're sort of like replicas. If I buy a ship in-game, namely the Aurora, with in-game currency, can I upgrade it on the website and keep it forever? You will be able to once the game goes live. At the moment, buying anything in-game with in-game credits will be reset at least every 3 months with the major patch updates, sometimes more than that. Eventually there will be less resets or no resets at all, and eventually they'll go live, and then any ship that you buy in-game will be able to be fully customized on in-game as well, and you'll keep it. But not at the moment. What else have we got? Caves. What are the chances people will explore a dark, wet tunnel only to find that they're inside the mouth of a giant sandworm? I hope that's a thing. Maybe a dead sandworm in a cave or partly in the cave. That'll be legendary. Oh, thank you very much. Collector CNC and Design donated $2. Thanks, BG. Appreciate your updates and viewpoints. No worries. I'm happy to sit around in my pants and chat. Very much appreciated, mate. And GSUP7, GSUP7S donated as well. Thank you very much. Robert Johnston. Oh, I love your face. Who is this Robert Johnston batch getting credit for my donations? Thank you very much. Oh, did I refer to you as Robert Johnson rather than Robert Johnston? I apologise. I will fix that. I'm the worst with names, as people know. Hey there, Board. I own a 890 Jump. And I'm not a big fan of the 600i asset seat that they have in there. Do you think it will be part of the customization eventually? Probably. I mean, they obviously shown that they have different seat options for all of that stuff, and I suspect people will want to desperately overly customize their cockpits, so I would expect that in the future. It's not something that you have to worry about too much when you're sitting in the seat, though, because you won't be able to see the seat when you're sitting in it. Do you see what I mean? No kitchen in the Racer board. Oh, is there no sink in the Racer? Oh, okay. That makes sense that there's no sink in the 350R. Thoughts on the Crusader Mercury versus the Drake Corsair? Well, the Mercury is much smaller. It's suitable for data and cargo transport and smuggling and more sort of like espionage, stealthy type missions. Solid multi-crew. The Drake Corsair is going to be significantly longer range, large crew, probably bigger cargo size, going to be suitable for a ground vehicle to be in there. I would say that it's totally different gameplay between those. What do you guys know about alien characters in this game? Well, they're working on them. I'm expecting that we'll see a lot more at CitizenCon this year, 23rd of November. We've got the Vandal, we've got the Xi'an. So the Vandal are sort of like weird fish lizards that are really tall, that live in low gravity, so they're quite spindly and tall, and they have low gravity ships. They've got kind of like shark faces. And then we've got the Xi'an, which are tortoise people, turtle people. They're sort of like bug-like ships, and I think they're quite, I'm not sure what size they are compared to a human. They're like turtle-looking people. Then you've got the Tavaran, who have been like suppressed by humanity. We went to war with them previously and beat them a couple of times. And they're sort of like bird samurai. They've got some sort of like cool, interesting-looking, slightly avian-looking ships. We've got the Banu, who have sort of like very tradey. They're sort of like, what would you describe them as? Persians? Persian-esque race. They're sort of like colourful, tradey. Got some Banu fighter, which is sort of like organic-y, Geiger-esque, bronzy greens, and that sort of thing, so like biomechanical kind of look and feel to their ships. We've got the Kurthak, which I have no clue what they are like. Any other races that we know about at the moment? No, I think that's it at the moment. And humans, obviously. We'll see alien creatures in the game as well, and animals. They are building them, but the Vandal of what they've been working on most, because they're in Squadron 42, the single-player game. Your in-game purchases are persistent for the current patch, but they do get reset. I can do a video on why they have to wipe in a bit more detail. That helps with people. Oh, Binary Loop, thank you very much for the raid. Very much appreciated. Hey, Board, I'm pretty new to Star Citizen. I fell down the rabbit hole pretty hard. Now proud top hat and monocle owner. I'm loving my origin events. Oh my god. Commander. Ascorbius, you're a monster. But becoming a concierge, even if you're new. I hope you have vast disposable income. I won't tell anyone how to spend their money. But welcome to Star Citizen. It's a beautiful project. I really love the community. You do, because the community is getting quite larger now. You do have very polarized ends of that community, but for the most part, the community is pretty fucking amazing. Best gaming community I've ever been part of, and I love it very much. So you are in good company. CGI didn't buy a $15,000 converted grocery store door. Chris did. I think that their beautiful grocery store door looks good. Didn't go into his pocket. Ridiculous having a go at them for buying a coffee machine and buying a silly door.
Oh, beautiful.
They're not that expensive. AC! Thank you very much for the cheer. AC is here. Robert Johnson is here. Mantis is here. Some of my people I love are here. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for all the love. What's next? Loot boxes? No. They've maintained their sort of like things that they're selling. And the stuff they're selling on the customization feature will be available in game. I don't like how much they've charged for weapons and items on that, so I won't buy them. And I do feel that some of the customization is a bit nickel and dimey, but it's not overly monetized, I don't feel. That's just me personally. I know some people really fucking hate what they've done, and that is entirely a valid viewpoint. If you feel that, that's cool. You're allowed to talk about it, you're allowed to express your point of view, and it's important that you get your point of view out there as long as you're done in a civil manner. But I don't agree with it. So like I'm much more chill, and I think it's because I expected it. And it doesn't look like it's overly done. It's not like, well, the only way to get these weapons is to buy them. It's not like that. Are the only available for a limited time paint color schemes for the 300 series events going to ever be available in-game, or is that a one-shot deal? So, as far as I'm aware, they are going to be available during events and special sales. Things like that. So they may come back, they almost certainly will come back, but they're only going to be available at limited times. I would expect them to be available for limited times in-game as well, but that is a pulled out of my ass. That's just an expectation. But you're about to have aftermarket customization of your ships for a much greater level of detail anyway. So, with ships like the Javelin being quantity limited, and when the game is released, if an org had enough manpower to get a crap ton of credits, would they be able to buy a Javelin? Yes. Once the game's released and they have Javelins available, yes. And they might have to track it down, they might have to get it commissioned. I'm not sure how you go about getting a capital ship, but yeah, if they had enough money, enough manpower, well, if they had enough money, they'd be able to buy a Javelin. If they had enough manpower, they'd be able to run the Javelin. Is there any new info on the Cutlass Blue? No, I think it's coming out in 3.8, though. I think that's the plan, isn't it, for the Cutlass Blue? Let me just check that. Citation needed. Yeah, Cutlass Blue 3.8. But no new information on it. I want to know whether we can take out the cells in it and stuff like that. But they haven't told us. I'm expecting with the new customization system and the way they're modularly building out the internals of ships now, that you will be able to. But what do you think is the biggest hold-up in the long-awaited server size increase and server-side object container streaming? Is it a hardware issue? They're just building out the tech, so they need lots of server optimizations. This is the actor to client rework, making sure that the servers are server authoritative rather than client authoritative. They need to get lots of optimizations in there for the way that servers look at things. On-demand physicalization is one of them as well. I believe they are very, very close for server-side object container streaming now, though, because it was in the monthly report. They were talking about it, and they basically said it's kind of ready for first implementation. So they'll probably tweak it a bit, and then we potentially could have it in 3.6. I think it's much more likely to be 3.7 though. And then, based on the sort of like improvements that brings to the server, because they should be significant server-wise, then they can start to look at raising the server cap up and getting static server meshing in, which would have servers dedicated to individual specific object containers. So individual planets will all be run by a server, individual areas of space all run by a single server, and then those servers will be able to hand across to each other information seamlessly. Biggest hold up wise is just that they need to, you know, work on those things and get them in game in a sort of like step-by-step process. I do think we'll see it pretty soon though.
Oh,
Are there any plans for people to have their own business organizations such as ship salvage and reselling, custom weapon, armor shops, black markets? So yes, you're going to be able to run your own organization, and you're going to be able to have to offer services. There's going to be a much more robust contract system. At the moment, obviously, we've got service beacons, but there's going to be a much more robust system for that in the future to get players and NPCs or whatever to do bits of work for you. We're not sure to what extent no one exacts for that. We know that, for example, the Banu Merchantman has has shops on it that you can probably set up the inventories of and sell things. I suspect you'll be able to do that in outposts. I suspect you'll be able to do that in some landing zones and locations. We're not sure sort of like how we're going to be selling things to other players in major locations. Maybe there'll be an auction house, maybe there'll be shops, maybe it's a virtual auction house just on your Mobiglass and things like that. So expect trade between players, but we're not entirely sure how, nor the range of those trades. Are they galaxy-wide, or are they just in an area that you're in? Is it based on connections or reputation you have? But yeah, there'll be black markets almost certainly as well between players. There'll be a lot of stuff that players can do that the game doesn't necessarily have direct mechanics for, but will then work out. So if you're trading in illegal goods, if you get caught with that illegal good, then the law system goes, you're caught with that illegal good, these are the sanctions it imposes. They might chase you, they might give you a bad rep, whatever. Warframe pay to win? No, fam. Okay, that gentleman referred to pay to win as anything that gave you an advantage. You can buy Warframes at the earliest stage when they have a new Warframe. That's an advantage. You can buy the platinum or silver we used to be able to, that sort of stuff. That's an advantage. Any advantage. But no, I don't think that Warframe is pay to win, or at least I wouldn't define it as pay to win. But it's purely based on that definition. What's needed for the server wipes to stop? Okay. Full persistence, server meshing, and then a reasonable amount of stability in the economy, larger servers, and then they can probably, after they've got the organization features pillar done, they can probably have less resets. Server wipes probably won't stop for a while because there'll be exploits, there'll be what they changed like massive parts of the economy, and there's lots and lots and lots and lots of things they need to get in. But in the medium term, for less resets, a load of server tech, for the most part, a bit more of the economy features, a few more gameplay loops. There's quite a bit of just random stuff that they need to get in there, and then they'll decide, yeah, we don't need to reset so much because they don't need to redo the databases, they don't need to keep on saying, oh, well, there was these exploits, or we're changing the way that you make money and how you get money. But it will keep on changing. They also want to keep on testing how long it takes to get stuff, and the best way of doing that is to reset. Do you agree with having to pay for customizations? No, I don't. I think that we should have all these features entirely in game. I see that I understand why they have paid customizations, and I don't mind them having paid customizations, but I do also want all those customizations fully available in game at the same time they sell them. That's the only thing that annoys me with the customization system, is that it's only available, those color changes, on the website, and some of those colors are only available at the moment for money. I want that all in game, and they're going to have it all in game, it's just they don't have it all in game now. What do you think? Oh, I've lost where I was. Back to toilets. I'll come to that in a second. What ships do you think they'll start working on after the 890 jump? So I believe after the 890 jump, they're going back to the 600i to get it working fully and do some tweaks to it. And then I think they're going to be finishing off the Carrack and stuff like that. They've actually powered through quite a lot of ships recently. What sort of general gameplay do you expect or want to see with the party boat, the 890 jump? Well, in the monthly report, they talked about prototyping an FPS mission on an 890 jump. So that sounds like either being assaulted or assaulting one, which would be fucking fantastic. maybe it's both. Maybe it's Outlaws Assault and try and capture someone. Like if you've got a VIP on board. I hope there's VIP missions where you have to transport people. But that's the sort of things I want to see from it. Obviously, it's going to be a great multi-role, multi-crew ship. And a base for a lot of people, command and control for a lot of people, sort of like their chill out. Let's do this mission, let's do this mission, let's take some ships away from the main party boat and do this mission, things like that. But I want some PvE missions or PvE focused missions with taking VIPs around, protecting VIPs, things like that. And yeah, create counter missions, have outlaws assaulting your boat and things like that. Why you violence my boat? Something that when TC was playing Eve, when he killed someone, he said that. Jite, take my money. Love your face. Thanks, bud. Thank you very much. And Adet, AC, I love your face. Oh my god, look at all the bits. Look at all the stupid chats. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Tiana's shorter than humans. Okay, that makes sense. They're stout, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, me. Hey, Board, do you think if I could customize an 890 jump to over 1k, then it would come with lifetime insurance? Technically, it's any pledge over $1,000 is supposed to come with lifetime insurance, as far as I'm aware. So maybe this is so much money to be spending on virtual spaceships. You monsters! How do I wash my hands after wiping my butt in a 350R? So typically, Origin pilots poop less. You could also probably get. I hope that on your toilets they sell as flair free shells, like from Demolition Man, and then you just go free shells. Like, it doesn't know how the 3 shells work. Doesn't have an air dry function. Just open the airlock afterwards and put your hands out. Oh yes, I expect to see Adam Ant next time. Oh. Why do people want me to wear my stupid jacket? Kit says I look stupid. Why don't they fix the EMP audio bug? Expect it to be fixed pretty soon if it's an easy fix. For 3.6 though, we're not getting another patch. Almost certainly not getting another patch until 3.6 now. Add it to the list of bugs that are annoying. Hopefully they'll sort it out. I've already discussed. Am I happy to pay for customizations? Want it all in game. I'm a few minutes behind on chat. About 8 minutes or so. How do you not get frustrated by complaints on finding sources and release time? Seems like people want a free game, no court masters, endless scope, and immediate release. Yeah, but those are people's opinions. And okay, so just because I think an opinion's ridiculous or unreasonable or whatever doesn't necessarily mean I don't think that person shouldn't have a voice. And I'm okay with that. I don't have to agree with them. Other people don't have to agree with them. And the fact they're talking about it is better than them harboring the grudge. So talk about it. We'll see how many people agree with that. We'll see how many people disagree with that. It allows me to question certain things. People might bring up some important points in a complaint, even if I don't agree with their complaint. And I don't need to agree with everyone. So I have to have dialogue and have an interesting discussion about it. I never have thought that. So it's really important for me to people have varying views and voices. I don't want people to constantly fucking agree with me either. Jeez, I'm wrong a lot of the time. When I have like an opinion on something, I'm like, oh, I really like this because, well, that might not be right. That might not be a great thing. That might have been because I didn't see it in a particular way, or maybe I did see it in a particular way, and maybe I'm right, but it's like a little bit more of a grey area. But I don't get too stressed with them. I think some people are ridiculous. I think some people are trolls. I think some people don't want that sort of like civil discourse, or sort of like will be like, I'm so superior because I'm so reasonable. Oh my fucking god, that pisses me off. Oh. Sorry, that went into a rant. Binary Loop. Hey Board, not sure if I've talked to you about it already. What are your thoughts on the new hover system and only being able to hover when completely horizontal? That's not the case anymore. So, I thought it looked a bit weird, basically treating ships as helicopters, which was an interesting way of dealing with it. I was like, well, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. I don't know until it's in my hands. So I looked at the hover system, and basically, when you're going in atmosphere, when you're going slow or when you toggle it, your ship will put most of its thrust downwards, if not all of its thrust downwards, and then because of that, you'll act like a helicopter. So when you tilt forwards, you'll go forwards, tilt back, you'll stop, you can go backwards, which is an interesting way of doing it and sort of kind of makes sense. But D. Coulson has replied, talking about this a bit further. Hello, since this was filmed, we made a lot of changes to hover mode, specifically spurred around mining and scanning to make the whole process easier. For example, certain ships will have the ability to rotate their VTOL thrusters so they can tilt the ship forward and not drift. The Prospector being a prime example. It can face down about 10 degrees without moving forward. We will now allow you to strafe backwards and forward and left and right with normal strafe controls so that you can face down even more and strafe backwards to try and balance yourself without falling forward. A bit tricky to pull off though for more advanced players for sure. We implemented an auto hover mechanic that's bound to space brake. If you hold space brake, the ship will arrest any sliding and sit in a stable hover. While this is on, you can freely rotate your gimbals and face down at a service target. You can also turn on the space brake and then your gimbal mining laser will rock and mine without any issue. Then gimbal your mining laser to rock. Yeah. And then what was it already implemented? Are you adding a certain amount of random oscillation? Yes, this is already implemented. So we should see interesting hover, more believable hover, and hover and VTOL mode to be a bit different in atmosphere. We need it in our hands before we make full judgments. I mean, we can give feedback, we can talk about it until then. But there, if people want to have a look at that. Also, it was told that heat propagations, and even now, so if the system gets warm, it warms up other systems as well. No one's forcing you to spend money, pay $45 and earn UEC if you don't like the prices. Totally agree. There is an annoyance of it's only available for people that put money in at the moment. You know what I mean? I know that's true of lots of the stuff in Star Citizen, but they are getting better with that. Obviously, they are adding more ships in game and brandable ships in game and stuff like that. There is an annoyance to that, and I understand that annoyance. Probably my only annoyance with the system. I like the additional bits and bobs with it. But yeah, everything at this stage should be seen as just testing anyway. But people do obviously invest a lot of money and pay a lot of money into the game to get a ship that they want or are in love with, and it's annoying if you're having to spend further money for it. So if you buy a ship in game for 1.7 million ECU UEC, you'll have to do it all over again when the next patch is released. Yeah, if with the resets at the moment, if you buy a ship, your UEC, your Alpha UEC and your Alpha UEC patches will be reset with every major patch. So typically every 3 months. I know this is, and that's why a lot of people don't play at the moment. So they play briefly when a new patch comes out, test it, cool. I'm going to wait until the next patch and keep on doing it. And when we have full persistence and less resets or no more resets, those people will start to play because there's a reason to play. There's actual progression. There's no progression in Star Citizen at the moment. That's not just short term and then immediately erased. I know this has been answered. The object containers in server-side object container streaming can dynamically scale with population, right? So, no. Server-side object container streaming specifically is the turning off and standby of areas and turning them back on if there is someone there or if there's no one there. Not dynamically with population. Server-side, so server meshing, the end game for server meshing is dynamically scaled server meshing, which will literally look at a object container, any sized object container, and then spin up a server to run that object container based on population. Okay. So it can run a whole planet with a server, or it can run a single room with a server, and that's going to be based on population. What low to mid-tier ship combo would you recommend for piracy and interdiction of cargo ships? We don't know how interdiction is going to work 100% yet. There might be an interdiction-focused ship. There might be a specialist mount for interdiction. It might be missile mount. It might be whatever. We don't know exactly how interdiction is going to work yet. So it's hard to say exactly what ship would be great for interdiction, as we don't know. And the same question again for cargo ship and ships running security perspective. So low tier ship combos. The Avenger Titan is a great low-tier ship. It's probably my favourite. That can run a Tumbrel Ranger in there, the little space bike. That's great for multi-role, just general mission running, some cargo mission running, stuff like that. And then you're looking at like something like a Cutlass with a ground vehicle of some type in it. And then when you're going up the scale again, it sort of like depends on the specifics of what gameplay you want. But we don't know how interdiction is going to work yet, or at least what ships are going to be able to do it. Is it going to be a specialist ship? Is it a specialist mount? What item is it going to be if it's an item? How's that item going to fit onto your ship? So I can't really give you any more information than that, really. But like the sort of like low-end ships, the Avenger Titan is one of the greatest. It's super versatile. Cutlass Black, this again is just a bigger version of that. Allows you to do a little bit of everything. Great for cargo, great for mission running. It's going to have tractor beams and stuff on it as well. The Arrow, which is a great little light fighter if you want to do one-person dogfighting and security stuff. The Anvil's going to be, the Arrow's going to be great. Someone's just sent me a bollock load of money. Rob Goodfellow, thank you very much. I really enjoy your content and I feel I should show some love. Well, that's a lot of love. Thank you very much, Rob. I'll list you as an executive producer for next month if I remember. Feel free to message me or poke me anytime if you've got any suggestions for videos or you want to chat or whatever. I feel slightly guilty when people donate such large amounts of money. I've sort of got used to AC and Robert Johnston and like people like Shite and people chucking extra money at me constantly. Thank you very much. It's very appreciated. You're a star. You're a legend. If anything I can do, please let me know.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Oh, thank you very much, Captain Cuddles, as well for this sub. What else have we got here? Question in front of it if you've got a question that makes me see it easier. Will CIG add the reburn effect back into the game? They're working on Planetary Effects V4. We'll have to wait and see whether that makes it for that. Expect them to tweak it until it looks really good, though. Someone has put 100 euros and 1 cent. I'm competitive. DP, that's a very smug, smiley. I'm happy for people to compete and giving me money. It's in euros as well, which is a very strong currency. But I thank you very much for the donation. Very much appreciate that you guys are mad, but in the most beautiful possible way. Not in the same way that I'm mad. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Oh, you legend. Oh, DP, again for you. You need anything, tell me. If you want to be added to executive producers next month, tell me as well. Happy to help. Happy to help you. Just give me a load of money. Thank you. Have you made or are you aware of a basic tutorial for HOTAS based on the new flight model? No, I don't use HOTAS very much. Haven't been using it at all since 3.5. I am mouse and keyboard. I do have a Whirlpool HOTAS, which is actually with DC at the moment. He's testing it for VR stuff that we're planning to build a cockpit. I can grab that back and I can do a tutorial. I was hoping that Noob or Twerk were going to do one. I can give them a poke and see if they can do one. They'd probably be the better people to do it because they are more regularly using either HOTAS or dual sticks. When will the Constellation Snub Fighters be able to launch and dock? Technically, with the tech they've got with 3.8, which is ship-to-ship docking and ship-to-station docking, that is the required tech to get them working. Whether or not they're going to be available in 3.8, I don't know. But 3.8 or 3.9 would be my expectation for parasite docking. Demolition Man! I know, right? I was talking about earlier. So there is a hangar on the 890 jump. How big is it? I believe it's big enough to hold 2 85Xs, the 2 snub fighters, or I think up to a small, medium-ish ship. We'll have to wait and see, because I don't 100% know yet. But 2 85Xs was what it looked like it could hold. Probably got bigger rather than smaller. It's going to be... What ships can get in there will be dependent on the actual hole, door, whatever you want to call it, for the hangar. And we won't know until we actually see it. Need a new Aegis ship. Well, you'll get your beautiful new Aegis ship on the 24th of August when they have the concierge event. New Aegis ship coming. We're expecting a capital ship, but it could be the new Redeemer. Could be a lot of different things. Do you think we'll be able to CCU toilet showers? I think there will be options in the future for different levels and types of facilities on your ship for certain areas and for certain ships. Not for all ships or whatever. Just sort of bear that in mind. And you might be able to have little flare items and things. They'll put lots of silly stuff in. And remember, you're going to be able to pick up things and place things, and they will persist there in the future as well. So I suspect you'll be able to go to IKEA-type shops, which they have got planned in-game, and buy lots and lots of silly flare items with in-game currency to place around your ships. What changes do you expect to see for civilian and bartender AI in 3.6? Well, they've done loads of mocap stuff for the bartenders, like flipping drinks and cocktails and doing all the sort of like cocktail stuff you'd see on a real bar, and mixing cocktails and making drinks and the way they serve patrons. So expect them to be more engaged and more probably be able to order a drink from them, and them doing cool stuff and cool mocap and be a bit more sort of like interactive and look like they're a bit more alive. And the same for civilians. They're going to be improving their animation sets and how they react to other AI, other NPCs and players. I expect that continue to improve going forwards. But at the moment, they're focusing on sort of like more basic civilian NPC sort of behavior, and focusing on a little bit more sort of like in-depth behavior for bartenders and vendors. What do you think about the pricing for the upgrades in the 300 series? I think that the item and weapon bundles are ridiculously overpriced, or at least overpriced, and sort of irrelevant, because you can get better stuff in-game with in-game currency. And yeah, I'm sort of like okay with the way they've priced flare items and skin colors and changes, and sort of like those like minor customizations. It's a little nickel and dimey, but I'm super okay with it. It will all be available in-game, so I'm going to wait largely for them. There's some free options as well, so. Do you think there's any way we can make Issue Council more efficient? It feels like a lot of popular bugs are missed. Yeah, so, I mean, I've been talking about this with some people a little bit. I'm sort of like getting a more focused area on my Discord, and then sort of like, I don't want to brigade Issue Council stuff, because I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be used. But I'm happy to focus on and look at issues that people in my Discord or people suggest issues, or issues that I find. I'm sort of like happy to focus them and look at them and see if we can do something about them. But I don't. It sounds like brigading still, doesn't it? I don't want to misuse the Issue Council, but yes, I do think that there's more efficient uses of it, and I do think that there's some stuff that we could do as a community to make that more efficient. And the stuff that CIG could do as well, certainly. Like they could, when you load up the game, or when you load up the launcher, they could certainly have, we are testing these things out, please submit bugs. Here's a link to the Issue Council from in-game, and things like that. So there's lots of stuff they could do to help guide and signpost people. Oh, no, stop chucking money at me. Well, don't, but that's lots of money. It's not even appeared on my thing yet. It appeared on my other thing, but not my thing. Oh, why are you a monster? Robert Goodfellow, I'm competitive as well. BoredGamer, I've been watching you a long time. So this is my back payment. Thank you very much. You get customization system with me. And I haven't got any silly wigs or anything. And my crab's broken, that's not a euphemism. Thank you so much. It's very much appreciated. But it's a lot of money. I feel guilty about taking people's money. And when it's lots of little bits, yeah. Fuck it. You do what you want with your money. I'm not going to tell anyone else to do what they want with their money. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. No, you should look a gift horse in the mouth. Otherwise, you get raided by Troy. Or whoever it was. I fucking... broken my brain! But thanks. I'd love to see parachutes, halo suits, jump packs for high altitude incursions, just surviving fall from a ship. Yeah, so... I totally agree, we need ways of being able to jump out of a ship or eject from ships and survive in atmosphere. They are going to have something for that. We don't 100% know what it's going to be, but there will be something for that. I want to know if you can permanently lose a ship that you've paid real money for. So, Rod Wang. We don't 100% know. When the game goes live, it sounds like all ships will have a very have some sort of base insurance, some sort of like statutory insurance, which will mean that, yeah, you might have to pay more in-game credits, or you might have to wait a long time to get your ship back. You probably can get the ship back in some way, even if you have to pay a load of in-game credits for it. That's what it sounds like at the moment. But technically, I suppose, if you don't pay those credits, you could lose your ship. Some ships will be uninsurable that you obtain in-game. But the ones you pay for outside the game, it does sound like they want a statutory level of insurance for them. Though you might have to pay 75% of its cost in in-game credits to get it back, and you wouldn't be able to truly lose it. But again, we don't 100% know yet. Titan suits for next concept sale? Question mark. Titan suits at some point will go on sale. It would be ridiculous for them not to put them in the for sale, because I think they'll be really, 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 really popular. You monster, how can you stream during Star Citizen Live? I'm so sorry. That was so my bad. I didn't realise it was Star Citizen Live until after I'd started, like 2 minutes into my stream, and I went, ah, shit. Sorry if you already answered this. I answered this, but I was watching Star Citizen Live. What? Answered what? Oh, answered watching Star Citizen Live. Yeah, it was totally my bad. Apologies. I thought you were asking a different question. My brain melted. Thank you for demolishing the basement dwellers, screaming scam and pay to win. Keep up the good fight. Matt D, thank you very much. I don't think I specifically tried to go out of my way to demolish people's arguments like that. They are entitled to their opinions. Some of their opinions are clearly trolling. Some people have genuine concern, and they're entitled to them. It is not my duty or any of your duties to defend Star Citizen. We don't need to. I'm going to continue to enjoy it, continue to play it, and let the game speak for itself. The thing about pay to win is that I don't define it in the same way that other people define it and get angry about it, but I'm happy to have the conversation at their level, how they define it, which is, I think, reasonable. Yeah, you go, let's agree on a definition of something before we discuss it. But I don't think that even by the loosest definition of pay to win, which is probably the definition we should go for anyway, I don't think that makes Star Citizen a bad game. I don't think that as long as they do it right, it will be fine. It's the only way that Star Citizen would have been funded is the funding model they've got as well. I'm very excited about the new AMD chipsets and PCI Express 4.0 and stuff like that. Very excited for the new tech coming this year. Oh, going to be amazing. I'm very excited for Vulkan integration in Star Citizen as well. I'm broke and non-competitive. Oh, Joe. Oh. But thank you anyway. It means a lot as well. You see? It made me almost smile as much as receiving the ridiculous amount of money from Rob Goodfellow and AC, who constantly chucks money at me, and DPR. Thank you very much. You are all legendary people. Do you think that the hotfix 3.5.1 will be further hotfixed to fix AI to a reasonable state? Even the 3.5 state was better. So, AI for me have been alright. Early morning servers with no one on. I'm not sure how it degrades. They fixed a load of the AI, but the jitter is the major problem I'm having. The AI still go AFK, that's for sure, but they were acting better for me. It's not a hotfix patch, so hotfixes are defined differently by CIG. It's a mini patch, 3.5.1. Anything with a point additional number is a mini patch. Any 3 point whatever is a major patch, and hotfix patches are deployed server-side without the need for a client to download a patch. That's how CIG have defined them. Don't expect any more updates. Maybe little hotfixes server-side, but no more 3.5.2 or anything patches like that until we get 3.6. What's the difference between the OmniSky series and the AXA MAX series? They seem very similar. Why do both lines exist? Because they are sort of like trying to define different types of laser cannon compared to repeaters, compared to different types of energy and damage types. I don't know the exact differences to them, but I can link you the exact differences. So there's two. There's this, which is Malagos's example of like game data, component and ship component data that he grabs from the game and does a lot of work on. You can see all of the stats for all of the weapons and actually compare them, and all of the items in game and everything, and on all the hulls. Loads and loads and loads and loads of data here. Fucking fantastic for doing comparisons and working out how stuff actually balances on paper. There's also DPS calculator, which is fantastic as well. You can actually fit the items to your ship in here and look at the DPS and how the heat's generated and all that sort of jazz. Really, really useful things. With the bump in cargo capacity of the 315p, shouldn't the Avengers Titan start to make use of the space over the current 8 SCU? Without modifications, you could fit another 4 SCU above? No. I'm not sure how they're going to balance the Avengers Titan, but I would expect it to have a good amount of cargo in there beyond what it currently can have. Any intel on ramming, like the Kraken video, and it didn't say destroy the Kraken, and yet it didn't destroy the Kraken, and yet in the persistent universe, a saber round by a reclaimer can destroy it. Yes, they'll balance it. They'll make it so that either ships bounce off each other, or they get lightly damaged, or something like that, or the larger ship wins. That's the way I do it. I do light damage to ships, and the larger ship always wins. It's just this early implementation of it, though, isn't it? Like, ships aren't intended to ram each other yet. Any foreseeable fix for the 300 cargo lifts? Yes, so obviously stuff falls through them. They're not great. The 600 has problems. Lots of the other ships have little problems. I would expect to see this in 3.6. I haven't played since Arc Corp patch. Anything changed and new? So 3.5.1 has added new buildings and assets and lighting and brands and cool things around Area 18 and Arc Corp. The generation of the city planet's a bit different, so it looks a bit better. 3.5.1 has persistent changes to your ship. So if you go in game and buy a new weapon or buy a new cooler or something, put that to your ship. When you reclaim that ship, that customization stays. Obviously, it will be reset once the server's reset, but you don't have to faff around, and that's a great change. They fixed loads of quality of life problems. It's significantly more playable, in my opinion, than 3.5 was. Obviously, people are still having problems with it, but it's a lot more playable. Combat and AI is still derpy, but they're better than they were, in my opinion. There's some problems in quantum travel as well at the moment. Components do heat up, and they do propagate heat to other components. Bear that in mind. And thrusters sort of like can affect quantum travel now. That is a design choice. It's in 3.5.1. So turn off your thrusters. Don't go in cruise control when you're going into quantum travel. Stationary before you go into quantum travel. Otherwise, you might have more problems. Is it weird that the 600i isn't purchasable in the Origin event? Yeah, I was expecting all of the Origin ships and concepts to be purchasable during the Origin event. It's odd that CIG did not monetize that, but I suppose they're focusing on the testing for the customization system. You are able to fly all of the currently flyable in-game Origin series, though, during the Origin celebration event. So try them out. They're free to they're free to fly until June 30th. All of those ships. Yeah, there'll be ship insurance available at a minimal cost, typically minimal cost or a small cost, to make sure that you don't lose all your shit. So bear that in mind. There'll probably be different levels of insurance for different things, and it will help drive the economy. Risk and reward. Have you had any news about whether there will be smaller versions of the beam cannon that is available for the Idris level channel? I have talked to people about beam weapons. They said there was going to be other beam weapons. They didn't specify sizes. Some of the Bridison Con little chatter I got. I was talking to them about some of the weapons and stuff that are coming in the future and ideas that they had for some of them. But yeah, they plan to have other beam weapons. I'm assuming smaller sizes as well. Yeah, and the Singe is technically a beam weapon as well. It's sort of like they're all effectively supposed to be hit reg weapons. Do you think they will be able to not hit rage. What am I thinking of? Two different types of projectile. Takes time to hit them, and then there's the other one. Instantly hits when it's fired. Do you think we'll be able to buy ship insurance with real life money? I hope not. I don't believe so. Beyond people buying lifetime insurance tokens and upgrading ships, I do think that lifetime insurance will just be a better version of hull insurance for that ship. That might expand a bit with customization. That's the entire custom loadout that you set with that. Since the 890 hangar is at the bottom of the ship, how will ships land? Either through the bottom or through a hangar door. It's space. Everywhere is up. What do you think of the Star Runner? I love the way it looks. I think it's a cool asymmetric little ship. I think it's going to be cool for data running and cargo and smuggling and small groups doing cool little missions and running as mission ships and espionage and stuff. I like that the Crusader is. I like that Crusader is venturing into murkier waters. I wish they had more gen-purpose piracy combat ship, though. Your thought? General purpose piracy combat ship. What for Crusader ships? Maybe. No. I like it mostly being. You can use those ships for those purposes if you want, but Drake sort of have you covered. I like Crusader's ships. I like the range they're doing. BoredGamer, Adventure Titan Renegade versus 300 series. What comes up top when considering performance versus armor and combat when its turn comes around for customization? That is very interesting that you say that. I haven't actually tested the Renegade versus 300 series. I haven't actually done much combat at all in 3.5.1. I'll have a mess around and see. There's a lot of factors at the moment that aren't balanced properly, like auto gimbals and ship health and shields done properly, and lots of the weapons need balancing, or hulls need balancing, and the flight model isn't balanced properly. So that's an interesting one because obviously the 300 series should have advantages components-wise, and in certain situations in the Avenger Renegade, this is going to have a better load, a good stock loadout. Then you can customize them. The Renegade is basically its own pre-customized version, though, isn't it? It's supposed to be. It's as if you customized a 325A with the combat options and a particular skin. So I think you'll actually see like the Avenger Titan have a Renegade package for it, rather than any further customization for it, or something like that. Do you see what I mean? Who can make my ship? Who can make my ship is big to work as I am alone. Need to NBC to help me as bar or engineering rooms. You will. I'm not entirely sure what you're trying to say, Mohammed. However, if you're talking about NPC crew, you will be able to rent NPC crew in the future. That's way off though. That they're in development. They're going to be a while. Probably at the very earliest, maybe next year, at the very end of next year if you're lucky, sort of thing. There's also going to be AI modules that you can put in turrets to shoot at things. So you can have a manned turret run by a little AI module that will go, I'm a derpy AI module. I only shoot enemies that come within 100 meter. That's how they speak as well. AC, thank you very much for the donation. Oh, you little legend. $7.32. Little breadcrumbs of money. I still love you, Rob, good fellow, and yeah, you got. It's still at the top of my screen with money being chucked to me. Thank you very much. Please throw more money at BoredGamer. Yes. I'm looking forward to when we can do stupid stuff in game and properly play it. Like, I can sit down, I can play. We've got persistence. We can mess around. I mean, we can sort of do that now, but it's sort of like a little bit more soulless at the moment when we know it's going to be reset 3.6. There are bugs, there are problems with it that really annoy me with combat and the flight model, and quantum travel at the moment and the AI. So hopefully 3.6 will be a lot more playable. Caribou's V2 appears as polishing in the roadmap. With this, our helmets going to be able to be taken off and carried around. That's what the picture shows. The idea of Carryables version 2 is that more objects will be carryable and holdable and be held more appropriately.
This game is a scam. Stop shilling, you show.
This is a game as a scam. Stop shilling. Thank you very much, Tessa Skulls. I love your face. You're more than welcome to drop your details of your app in if you wish. I found your app very useful. Your web-based thing. But thank you very much, Texas Skulls. Love your face. I will never stop shilling. So yeah, it's supposed to be more interaction and items being carried more appropriately, more than anything else. So potentially you'll be able to take off your helmet or stow your weapon in a different way and hold your helmet in a particular way, hold items in particular ways that are a little bit different, better interaction with that. But we've not confirmed exactly what items and how we're going to be able to carry them and that sort of stuff yet. What's up, Potato Squad? Oh my god. Potato Squad massive. Oh, I will get some potato emotes done. I'll get them done soon. I'll get some potato t-shirts done. I'll run them by my Patreons and VIPs first. Need to start giving them some more exclusive and interesting content. Do you have any idea when they are going to make the Vanguard a heavy fighter again? Well, they're planned, the Vanguard rework's planned for 3.6. We'll see exactly what they've got planned for it then. I'm reasonably excited for it because Vanguard Central is one of my favourite ships in the game, and I love the Vanguard series in general. They've been a bit weak and not really running as intended. So hopefully we'll see a long-range heavy fighter out of it that's viable in the game. Will there be NPC items that are overclocked as well? I believe so, that you'll be able to loot and stuff. Yeah. You should see that on some ships. That's what I'm expecting anyway. Maybe not the best overclocked weapons and items, but probably some. How make big ship... yeah, already read about that. Already answered that. Any intel on ramming? Talked about that. Is 3.6 on the right rails to be on the PTU before July? We don't 100% know. We know that obviously 3.5.1 has only just come out. Typically, they don't like to be working on previous branch, the 3.5 branch. They like to content lock like at least a month before, and then that gets sort of like into they're able to bring all the content from 3.5 and fixes and additions to it back into the main branch and get the content out for the next branch. However, they could have been simultaneously working on 3.5.1 and 3.6, and with the sort of like just replicating any steps and bugs that they fix with it quite easily, I'm assuming. And yeah, so it could be delayed. I would expect at least by the end of June to have 3.6 PTU for everyone, but we'll have to wait and see. I haven't... through the roadmap, they've still been making progress on all the features, and it doesn't look like they're going to overly slip or anything, but we don't know. So I can't be more specific than that. AC's gifting subs, thank you very much. Or Ginjik being forced to sub. Unnaturally forced to sub by AC, thank you very much. You legend. Hey Bob, did you see Star Citizen Live? No, I did not. I started my stream 15 minutes into Star Citizen Live without realising Star Citizen Live was live. Feel free to talk about it though. I will watch it later. It was VFX and graphics and stuff, wasn't it? Do you think the A90 jump will be able to fit a 300 in its bay? Yes, I actually do. I do think that, but I don't know for sure. I believe it can fit two 85Xs, and I think the 890 jump will probably be relatively good at transporting racers. It will be like sort of like a racing command ship. When do you think Vulcan, or the Vulcan, will be out? Bought a while ago. It's been over a year and a half. So they need drone gameplay. So they need ship-to-ship docking. Probably see it next year, quite reasonably. And they'll want to cover repair and re-armor of fuel mechanics as well. So probably towards the end of next year. Q3 of next year, maybe. Have I considered doing HOTAS reviews? Yes, I've considered it. I just don't think I'm the best person to do HOTAS reviews. I think there's a lot of people with a lot more experience and enjoy HOTAS more than me. I will try HOTAS, but I prefer mouse and keyboard, mainly because it's much more easier to use for editing, jumping around from multiple things, being able to do first-person shooter stuff, and then immediately go to flying a ship and then a vehicle, whatever. So for me, it's just ease of use, because I don't have enough time to keep on messing around with stuff, or enough space either. The best HOTAS I've ever used, though, by far, is the Virpil Constellation Delta. Oh, mama, that is a good fucking joystick. And Monster Tech mounts are pretty good for all your other needs, when you're talking about space and how to mount these things. Do you think they will make non-combat versions of the Titan suits for stuff like mining, salvaging, in enclosed areas and like caves and things? Yeah, quite potentially they will have utility versions or utility mounts and items for the Titan suits. Yeah, I would expect that. We want beards. Yep, beards soon. I'm actually growing my beard IRL as well. Let's see what BG says. What the fuck, donations? Do you think there'll be an achievement system in Star Citizen like in other MMO games? Then there'll be achievements in Squadron 42 potentially. And you'll be able to see those probably as well in Star Citizen retroactively in your diary. So like you'll have a diary that will like tell you what on your Moby Glass. It will tell you what you did in Squadron 42. But yeah, maybe. I like the idea of an achievement system. Yeah, why not? Depends how they implement it. Implement it so it's in-game, so it's diegetic in the Moby Glass. Oh, thank you very much for the love. Very much appreciated. Do we expect big space casinos? Gambling is an odd one. I think they try and avoid it in games, even if it's for in-game money. But maybe. If they allow us to build sort of like apps and stuff for the Moby Glass, I think a casino is probably something that would make a lot of in-game money. Also, the marketing pictures for the 600i show it on the pad on a beach. What will be the first planet that resembles an Earth-like planet? Earth. Terra, probably. Although, yeah. Well, there'll be some other ones that look more like less developed Earth. Do a collaboration with someone else for a HOTAS review. Maybe. I'll look into it if people actually want that. I'll get a lot of requests for it. So maybe. What do you think we'll see at CitizenCon? I think we'll see jump points. I think we'll see hints at another system. I think we'll see Titan suits. I think we'll see a new Squadron 42 vertical slice. I think we'll potentially see aliens. Whether that's animals or just like the Vandal and some of those other races done properly. I think we'll see some 3.8 gameplay. Potentially capital ships redone properly for multiplayer stuff. Lots of stuff they could do. But yeah, probably a lot of the 3.8 gameplay as well. I expect to see a couple of new ships. Or ship in a vehicle or something that's sort of like a mixture of concepts and probably straight to flyable, straight to drivable. I'm very much looking forward to CitizenCon, and I will be attending. I think I can get a ticket. Will you ever be on Redacted again? Yeah, so I wanted to be on Redacted a little while ago, but I literally fucking forgot that I was supposed to be on, and I was just in bed. So I'm not sure if Source has forgiven me for that. So at some point I'll give him like a ship or something and say, please, I'm sorry. Didn't trust me to be on next time. Just give me a confirmed time and date and poke me at least an hour before. But yeah, so I will happily be on Redacted again. I will happily be on anyone's podcast pretty much. I'm pretty easy with that. I've had an erratic amount of time recently, but with my dad and my parents and stuff as well. That is a good point. I should go reasonably soon, as I want to check on my dad and I want to eat. Interestingly, Board mentioned Monster Tech mounts. they do swivel mounts that mount to a chair that I have. Monster Tech mounts are amazing. They're super good. I've messed around with them. I've got some somewhere in my room in a box in storage, maybe the other room. They're pretty slick. But yeah, the Virpil Constellation Delta, oh, what a stick, and what a throttle, and those Monster Tech mounts are great. I suspect Noobify will agree with me, assuming he's tested them. And obviously the Warthogs are pretty good and feel pretty awesome, but they're just not great for space combat needs, in my opinion. And they're a bit too heavy for me. Will these ships run on some type of energy or gas? Yes, so they want to generate thrust for the ships using fuel, and they've talked more about fuel recently. And we're not entirely sure how fuel's going to work in the game anymore, because they talk about actually having a finite amount of fuel that you then need to pick up your just normal fuel with your fuel intakes, in addition to your sort of like quantum fuel or and your boost fuel. Although your boost fuel might actually be your standard fuel that's used in a different way, and you can run out of, and it's both your general fuel and your boost fuel. They sort of like, and then they talked about mining fuel, and some fuel is solid, some of it's gas. It's all up in the air at the moment. They keep on talking and changing the sort of things, or at least they haven't fully explained how they want fuel to work in game now. They kept on changing their answers. They kept on talking about different things. So I don't know how fuel is going to work in the game at the moment, and I am waiting on a response from CIG or for them to talk more about it. Answering about the achievement system, it can be something like getting a reward and bonus reward and currency that grows with the achievements that you get and participate in. Well, I think you'll have that with the basic mission system anyway. But with like Squadron 42, completing and getting to certain areas in the game will give you access to military gear, or like the F7, F8 C lightning and things like that in the persistent universe. But loving the new VTOL dynamics. Cool. I wanted to test it in my hands before I give like a truly honest opinion. It looked interesting. It looked a bit odd, but it looks interesting. It looks potentially like it will solve a lot of the issues I had with not feeling like you have weight in atmosphere. So thanks for asking my questions. See you next time. Oh, no worries at all, Leon. I don't know if I did answer your questions, but appreciate it. What do you think about Crytek Lawsuit being so greedy for stepping down? What do you think about Crytek Lawsuit being so greedy for stepping down? I think that someone provides some information that Epic Game is behind this and funding the case. No. So there's interesting stuff that was happening with the Crytek Lawsuit. So basically, it looks like, and I'm not a lawyer, so I can only say what it looks like from the legal documentation, that Skadden, who were representing Crytek, have been withdrawn and removed. It appears to be in their entirety from the case, and Crytek have replaced them with two firms in the US, I believe. One that is into IP law, and the other that is into sort of like trademark law. Which is an interesting thing to do at this stage. The court had got a little bit annoyed at Crytek, saying they had squandered their time with an extension to respond to CIG's request for them to put up a $2.2 million bond that would be used to pay CIG's expenses and court costs and stuff if Crytek were to lose, which is looking more and more likely, in my opinion, in their entirety. But it's more likely that they will settle, and probably for a token amount now. So both will just sort out their own legal expenses, maybe like £100,000 or dollars or something. That's the sort of token I mean. But we'll have to wait and see. I wouldn't blame the whole of Crytek for them. I'd either blame, maybe be annoyed at the lawyers, but I'm not sure. Maybe the lawyers were working just under untenable instructions. It's more sort of like the people that are probably commanding the lawyers, the higher-ups in the Crytek, are at fault, probably. I don't know. Maybe Crytek have actually been genuinely wronged. That is possible. I'm not saying it's not. If that's the case, then they're using the legal system. They've just been unlucky. But when I find out more, I'll tell you more. Even if we don't hear anything and there's a settlement, I'll try and dig to see if there's anything I can talk about with that. Could I only have one really big ship, aka the A90 Jump, or should I have several ships? You've only got one bottom, so I'd go for one or two ships maximum. A90 Jump is massive if you've got a crew that you can run it with, and you've already dropped that amount of money into the game, then maybe the 890 jump. I do love that. However, the Carrack's cheaper and pretty multi-role as well. It sort of depends on the gameplay you want. Excellent info. How you aren't directly paid by CIG is beyond me. Well, I wish I had even been offered to be paid for it. I have not accepted free paid trips from them. I have not accepted free computers from them. I have not accepted or been offered. That's why I might have been offered some of these, or not others, but I'm not saying which ones. But I've not accepted any free things from CIG beyond a teacup and a saucer, and the opportunities to go on to office tours when I've requested them. Which I'm hoping that they give me another opportunity to go this year. I keep on poking them this year, but they haven't answered me yet. I'm not sure if I've annoyed them, or if they're sort of like only allowing new people to go on office tours or whatever, but hopefully they'll see the merits in allowing me to go. I don't think I get any special treatment from CIG. I don't think anyone can identify any special treatment I've been getting from CIG. I love but they don't need to give me any special treatment either, and I think that would potentially affect my my coverage of the game, or at least appear to affect the coverage if they were giving me loads of free money or computers all the time, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? You could never be truly unbiased if you're in bed with the other guys or whatever. Do you see what I mean? Do you think we'll have rotating cutlass engines again? I don't believe we will. I think they've said that we won't. How do you think the news mechanic will work, since we've got a variant of the news, of the Reliant, the Mako, in fact, of the news van? Yeah, so we don't know, really. We know it's got a camera on it. We know there's going to be screens internally. There's lots of ways they could do it. They could allow you to stream inside of the game to another service, like the Mobiglass or other screens or whatever, and you could get potentially maybe money based on the amount of viewers you get in-game. They could stream it externally. There's loads of stuff they could do. They could use it just for mission content and just have what you're seeing from the camera on the screens and not have anything more than that. There's lots of stuff they could do. Their render-to-texture tech allows them to have, obviously, live-streamed feeds. They're working with Twitch and Amazon. I think Amazon own Twitch, don't they? So there's lots of cool stuff they could do at that end as well. They have a near infinite, what a stupid thing to say, but you know what I mean, an infinitely scalable amount of data storage and servers. So they could do a lot. Have you ever had a tour of the Manchester offices? Yes, I've had 3 tours of the Manchester offices. 2 tours, 3 tours. I've had a couple of interviews. I think I've had 3 tours now in total. I've interviewed Aaron Roberts twice as well. You didn't get your customary streamer Legatus pack. I wish. To be honest, that is something I would like. I would like them to give me access to all the ships. Not for the full game, but just until we have no more resets or something. Give me access to all the ships so I can make content on them easily without having to borrow them off other people. You know what I mean? I feel that that is something I should be at least able to apply for. Don't want an advantage in game from it. I just want to be able to use it until, or give me very limited use for like a week when a new ship comes out, or a day when a new ship comes out. But I suppose I can sort of like with the top tier subscription, I sort of like can get that. They give you access to those ships for like a week or so after a major patch comes out. So. I'll further reduce the audio volume. Apologies. Do you think, /no, if capital ship battles will play sort of like Star Trek-esque style dogfights, where everyone in your crew has a duty on ship? That'll sell the game for me personally. I think there'll be elements of that. Obviously, they're going to try to balance it towards that. So the idea is capital ships will have high times to kill. They'll take damage all over the ship. They'll blow out relays and things. You'll need engineers or people to go around repairing things, repairing components, getting components back and running. It's sort of like putting sub-components back into areas, welding fuse boxes, stuff like that, in addition to people running the MFDs, the multifunction displays. So there's a lot of stuff that players should be able to do, like dealing off sections and things like that, I expect as well. I expect that the more efficiently you run the ship and the crew, and sort of like get stuff repaired and manage your systems and shields, the better chance you'll have. So that's the dream, the Star Trek-esque style dogfights. But I suspect they'll be a lot more drawn out, and a lot of the time people will run. You'll be like, oh, I've taken a heavy damage, I need to run. So then it'll be, can you run the other person down? Can you interdict them? Can you webify them? Can you slow them? If you want to try and destroy them or board them. And because of the way they're going to have physicalized components, you will be able to individually target thrusters and engines and power plants and stuff to disable that ship. And that's what's going to happen with a lot of ships. They're not going to explode and die. They're going to be disabled. And those ships might be able to be repaired while you're trying to board them, while you're trying to be able to assault them, while you're trying to finish them off. And in a massive battle, ships are going to be being disabled and being repaired, and you keep on pummeling the ship that you've disabled to make sure it's fully disabled. You try and board it while you're trying to fight off other people. What do you do? So it's all about the organisation and the choices there. But I'm very excited about boarding and capital ship battles. It was a free teacup given. I believe they had got them in for the office or something. I think that should be pretty low. Hopefully I apologise for the music being too loud for some people. You purchase components and reclaim ship. Do you still get the purchase components back? Yes, so they stay on your ship. Any changes you make to your ship persist on your ship. So if you go in-game and you purchase something with in-game credits, a new power plant, or a new weapon, you put that on your ship. When you reclaim that ship now, it comes back with that component that you put on it. Perfect. With the persistence of ship loadouts, do you think longer reclaim times and higher fees are around the corner, giving consequences to blowing stuff up in the persistent universe? Yes, I do suspect they will add more insurance options in the reasonably near future. Yes, but with the 3.6 reset, you will lose your components again. Yeah, so you'll lose any Alpha UEC or Alpha UEC bought thing with the major resets. How do you expect hangars and settlements to work? Are there supposed to be building mechanics, prefab structures, or are we primarily going to operate from larger ships? So there is going to be outpost building with the Pioneer. You'll be able to literally, on certain planets and certain areas, you'll be able to either put a land claim if they're in UEE space. That basically says, I'm allowed to use this land, and it's protected by the UE. So if anyone is caught doing illegal activity or trespassing on your land for long periods of time after you've asked them to leave or whatever, then the coppers will come along and remove them, or they'll get a criminal rating or whatever. But areas that aren't protected by the UE might have a more Wild West approach. There won't be land claims as such. You're just about to plop outposts down wherever you want with your Pioneer. Your Pioneer will require resources to make outposts. There will be multiple different types of outposts based on what you want to do, whether you're trying to extract mineral wealth from the area, or gas that's under there, or liquids, or you want a base, or you want something that allows you to do science and mix chemicals. Maybe there's storage, whatever. There's going to be lots of different types of outposts for that. And maybe they've talked about mining machines and moisture extractors and defense turrets and things like that as well. And landing pads and stuff like that you potentially be able to build. So we know that they want that in the game. We're not entirely sure how it will work beyond that the Pioneer can literally pop them down and weld them into the floor, drill them into the floor. With hangars and HABs, sort of like on planets that have landing zones, they want physicalized hangars and HABs to be able to be rentable or purchasable or something, that have physical addresses. Obviously, there's going to be public ones as well that are sort of like public hangars that you can just land there. You don't need to, you won't be able to not land in a landing zone because you don't have a hangar, but you'll also be able to get these sort of like physicalized, addressed hangars as well that are private. That's what they want in the game anyway, at least. And the same with HABs. And they've got huge amounts of space on these planets, so they can build these out and actually have train connections or lift connections taking you to your address, and then other people could potentially visit you there as well. That's the plans. Don't know how exactly that will be implemented though, or if it will change. What do you know about finding new systems and planets through exploration? Will you be able to sell that info to a player or make a corporation or rent it to another player? Yeah, so, I mean, we're not sure exactly with the giant things like finding planets and systems and stuff, but the idea is that information will have a value. You'll be able to sell coordinates of stuff. So you find an asteroid field, you find some rare minables, you find you survey a planet and you find something cool there that's great for a base location. So you will be able to sell that information. Now, there might be multiple types of information, so like more data-driven things that will just be used for general science, general exploration, that just has value, like a commodity, or that can be used as a resource for like the science gameplay, gets nommed up as data and then used for something else. There might also be more specifically coordinates of specifically found asteroid fields or surveyed land with data attached to it. So, moisture collectors, yeah, they're called. Isn't it late as hell where you are? No, it's 6 p.m. But I do need to dash off in a second. Thank you so much for the ridiculous amount of money that people have thrown at me. Let's talk very briefly about some of these things, though, before I go. As I said earlier, they are continuing to work on the hover and VTOL modes. They're going to be in 3.6, so you will be able to tilt and stuff even when in HOV mode in some situations, so that you can use it for mining or whatever. Obviously, you don't want to keep on flying forward like a helicopter, but the idea was that HOV would act more like a helicopter in general. They're adding more controls and less slide to that function, and you also be able to strafe and things like that now. So they've been working with that. We'll wait until it's in our hands before I give sort of like, well, wait until it's in my hands before I give a full sort of like feedback on that. I haven't actually fully read the SQ42 report yet, which I will later. We've got the Origin celebration at the moment, which gives you access in-game to all of the currently flyable Origin ships. You can just try them. Just go to the ship spawn terminal, try the 600, try the M50, try any of the 300 series, try the 85X. Woo! You can also now customize your 300 series of ship. That's the old one, which actually looks pretty cool. That bit looks really cool. Don't like the rest of it. But I do like the new 300 series. I know it's a bit fatter. I know some people saying space specialist woman's sex object, but I think it looks cool. Inside and out, it's much more spacious, and it makes a lot more sense. And I look at the rear. The rear is just better, objectively better. It's got a little weapons rack in it as well, but you can customize these. The 350R has a lighter hull than the rest of the 300 series, so it literally has effectively a lower health pool, but is faster and more agile, making it a more viable racer. They had to do something. They changed it in the PTU. We go to customize. See, as people were talking about, you got some free color options for your ship. So you can literally just, if you have the 300 series already, or if you want to buy one or whatever, get some free color options. These celebration colors are only available for a limited time, but I suspect they'll be available again during another sort of like sale or whatever. All this will be available in game eventually, but is only available on the website at the moment. And each of the Origin ships do have some bespoke Origin celebration colors. So the 325A one has different ones to the 350R and to the 300 series and to the 315P. But you can get some cool customization there, and it allows you to do the internal trim and the steering wheel and the seat, what materials the seat's made of, and the finish of the seat. And the bed covers, they don't have the cool spaceship bed covers, but this will do. And then what I think is relatively ill-advised are the prices of these weapon and item packages. So for $2 you get the gimbaled version of the ship, literally just giving gimbals over the normal version. Oh, actually, you know, what else does it change? What has it changed? Fuel generators? Changes something, whatever. But then you've got like these other packages that aren't even gimbaled. I'd say aren't even gimbaled, and obviously fixed is going to be very viable once they sort the fact that fixed weapons need to be able to aim at targets. In 3.5.1 still, there's offset fixed weapons, which is really annoying. But there's like $11 and $24 for these weapon packages, and you might as well just go in-game and buy the items separately and affix them to your ship anyway for in-game money, because that's the only reason you want to accrue in-game money anyway. Buying ships and buying items for ships. So that's what I'd do. I just think that $11 is probably too much for that. $24 is far too much for a weapons package like that. If you want to give creative packages, make them really cheap when it comes to weapon upgrades and things like that, because people are going to want to upgrade a load of this stuff anyway. But also you can grab, that's just my opinion, also you can grab a load of flair. Some of this flair will be functional. In fact, it all will be functional at some point as far as I'm aware. The drinks and food maker, they will be used for the stamina system and the player status system. You will need to eat and drink. There's an audio system, not sure how the audio system is going to work. Maybe play music in your ship or something. You've got a little picture frame, which I suspect you can customize in the future. And you've got a clock, which counts upwards. There's lots of little things. It is the tier 0 implementation. It's a cool little thing. It's not great, not shit, it's like in between. I want all this functionality in game. And we will have that at some point. But there's weapon packages and item packages. They're kind of irrelevant. But better stuff you can get in game already. And it makes more sense to do that. But 3.5.1 live, reasonably good patch. Solved a load of the problems I had with 3.5. Still not perfect though, still loads of problems. Hopefully they'll fix them all for 3.6. Star Citizen is much... It's got a load more stuff in it, but it's broke a load of the playability of the 3.4 had, which is annoying. I am hoping that 3.6 is going to be a great patch. It's the problem with the jitter and the vibration for me is the main problem. Problems with AI basically for the most part, and the fact that fixed weapons don't aim properly. Oh, that's annoying. Right, what do we got? What other capital ships do you expect to see, and made by who? Expecting to see another Aegis capital ship. I expect we'll see a capital ship from everyone, even the alien races. Like I think we'll see a Xi'an one. I think we'll see probably a Tavaran one, even maybe. Banu, maybe not another Banu capital ship. Maybe they'll be okay with just 2 capital ships in the short term. I'd like to see a Xi'an capital ship. I mean that would be cool. Be better to get in game. Time travel, I see a lot of people complaining about time travel in game. I thought the idea was exploration was going to be longer time spent traveling. So, time to travel. Yeah, so, I mean, they're going to balance that more, but I think a lot of people don't like the time to travel because they're using small ships with size 1 quantum drives, which aren't meant to be used long-range travel, really, across systems. And the longest range you're going to be traveling is across the system. You know what I mean? So, size 2... and size 3 and larger quantum drives are going to get you to places much quicker, as is when we have capital ships that are going to be there as a service to take smaller ships around. So say I want to go from one jump point from one side of the system to another side of the system in Stanton, I could probably hire out, I could probably get a Kraken, or I could get some sort of other civilian transport vessel, maybe that an NPC runs between those points at a cost to take my ship there. You know what I mean? That's the sort of things I'm expecting in game. I would love to see a drone corvette for a capital ship as well. Oh, that'd be awesome. Servers were garbage last night, were they? I will check them out again in a minute. Crashed the desktops within 5 minutes. I was able to go around and travel to all locations in a single session when 3.5.1 came out. That was live, wasn't it? Not PTE. Check my dates in a minute. Bored, you're still going at it? Ain't right. I am. Getting constant disconnections. Oh, I was not getting disconnections, but I have not played today, admittedly. They might have deployed something else. I'm sure that I was playing 3.5.1 live. I wasn't getting... Yeah, it was 3.5.1 live. I did a flyby on my Star Kitten of a load of 300 series. I watched a load of people ramming each other. Just sort of followed people around and did little pirouettes around them with my Star Kitten and Dragonfly. Just looking at 300 series, and then I travelled to all the major locations to see what had changed, because I really love the look of ArcCorp Area 18 and Lawville at the moment, but I wasn't having problems, but I haven't tried today. A lot of people have said they were having disconnection problems and AI problems, and I was not. So I'll check it out today. I'll certainly check that out before I do a state of the game. I want to give a fair state of the game. I thought I was probably a little bit over-optimistic with 3.5 when I did my state of the game with it. I didn't identify that there was a couple of more major problems, or at least minor problems I thought were going to be immediately fixed. Or I at least said I thought they were going to be immediately fixed and weren't. I should probably say that these things need to be fixed, otherwise this patch will be trash. And obviously I have to talk towards 3.6 because I do think 3.5.1 aimed to make it better, but if it's still having loads of problems and disconnection issues, which is terrible if it's constantly crashing and disconnecting, but I will check it out in a bit. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me today, very much appreciated. I do love all your faces. Thank you very much for chucking vast quantities of money at me. I will probably be live again either on the weekend or on Monday, but I will be getting a video up about SQ42, the monthly report on that, and then going into a bit more deeper details of SQ42 stuff if it mentions anything that warrants that. What else? I'll check out Star Citizen Live at some point. We'll get something up on that. I'm helping my mate Mark with a vampire masquerade roleplay thing that he's doing. It's actually like this worldwide real event thing that he was trying to get a Patreon for and potentially going to do a Kickstarter for, and he's really into it. I think it will actually be pretty fucking good. So I need to have a look at that later. I may show you his project once he's made it live as well. Try and get him some extra love for it. But yeah. Right. Love your faces, guys. I'm going to go eat. Thank you very much. Let's go host someone on the interwebs. Beach. Streaming. He's streaming. I'm going to go host stream. G. G will be playing Star Citizen with me at some point. He's sort of like a member of the BoredGamer stream team, which will be more active at some point very soon. But I love him. He's a mod as well. And he is a giant of a man, IRL. Oh my god. I'm so small and he's so big. But he's playing Star Citizen. Fuck you, G. Right. Give him some love. I will actually fucking raid him. Wait, have a fucking raid. I always just host because I'm lazy. Raid. Give him some love. I'll be there for a few minutes as well. Thanks very much, guys. Love your faces. And I will see you soon. 890 jump giveaway. Oh, it's 890 jump giveaway for this month on my YouTube channel. It's Odyssey Interstellar. Thanks, guys. Love you. See you soon.